Do you feel the vibes?
What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin coming back to another video. In this video, I want to pose the question: is there variety in gaming? And we talked about this quite a bit on Blitz Sports Network. So shout out to all those guys on the panel for always enjoy those guys' conversation. But I wanted to kind of make my own video. There's some things that I felt as though I left out, but I'm going to talk about pretty much everything that I wanted to, at least in terms of this question. Before I answer the question, NFL video, mainly the Panthers draft picks. I'm going to talk about that once the draft's over. And, of course, the NBA second round matchups. Because I didn't really talk about the first round matchups beforehand, but I'm going to talk about the second round matchups. Those videos are coming soon. But is there variety in gaming? I would say yes. Now, a lot of people see, push of the popular games, your first person shooters. Now it's like open world games, you've seen a lot of like zombie games coming out, and I think those are just companies release what's popular. They release what's popular. That's what you're always gonna get that. During the SNES, Sega Genesis days, even NES, Sega Master System days, you had the 2D side scrolls. Not only were they the easiest to make, but they were also what people bought the most. Your Sonics, of course, your Marios, your Donkey Kongs. Those were the games that people bought the most. So that's what they kept releasing. Those are the easiest games to make. Now, first-person shooters, your Call of Duty, your Battlefields, your Titanfalls, Doom. Of course, I'm leaving out some, but these are the games that people buy the most. So companies are gonna keep releasing those. Like I said, survival horror, like some action, third-person action games have become extremely popular. Uncharted, Horizon, and these games fit into a lot of subgenres. Like Horizon, like an RPG as well, has RPG elements and stuff like that. So a lot of these games fit into subgenres as well. But these are the popular games. These are the games that companies are gonna keep pushing out because they sell well. I mean, that's just gonna be the thing. You're looking at the PlayStation N64 days, Sega Saturn days. The games that were coming out were, this is when it huge influx of every game, every character that was in the past that was on those older systems had to be put into like a third-person 3D action adventure game, a la Super Mario 64, which became wildly popular and almost set the groundwork for those types of games. Your 3D action adventure platformers. And a lot of companies were making those back then because it was a new thing. It was a popular thing because people saw how well it could work with Mario 64. But yes, you have your other games like strategy games. Not a big deal on consoles, but still option nonetheless. Games like XCOM, which I like XCOM. It's one of the few strategy games that I do like. The Total War games, Age of Empire, Civilization, just etc. Those are just a few. But these are strategy games. And like I said, these don't really come out on consoles just because it usually doesn't sell well. You got MMOs, which are kind of like more social, like RPG games, massive multiplayer online games, and you have a bunch of those. Those are actually coming to consoles. A lot of them are free to play, but it's something that's grown in popularity even for the console fan base. You got your story-based games, all the Telltale games. They do The Walking Dead, which is a very popular IP. You remember Tales of the Borderlands. They recently did the Batman one. They're now doing the Guardians of the Galaxy game. So, for people that like movies, don't really... I've seen a lot of people that don't do a bunch of gaming who like those games because it's like a movie, but you can make different choices and change the outcome of the story. So it allows multiple playthroughs. I know people remember games like Heavy Rain or Until Dawn, or you got a new one that's coming out, Detroit Becoming Human. Those games are pretty much like the same thing. You got your RPGs, you got your Western RPGs. Of course, you got your Japanese. Your Western would be like Witcher 3, the Witcher series, Fallout, Skyrim, the Mass Effect games. Then you got your Japanese, what goes with more of a Japanese animated art style. Tales of Berseria, Persona 5, Final Fantasy 15. You got your hack and slash games. Your God of War is coming up. You got your Nier Automata. Kind of like your beat 'em ups. You ever play Shenmue? Games like Yakuza. Yakuza reminds me a lot of Shenmue. Great story. Talks about the Yakuza games, Japanese underground and stuff like that. It's a good game. Yakuza 0 came out this year. That's a good game. That game's kind of like, works as like a beat 'em up. It has some RPG elements, and it has a bunch of content. Talked about you got your platformers. Games now you got they still make it in the style like the older school 2D side scrollers. Cuphead, whenever the hell that comes out, a few years back, you got Shovel Knight, and I'm pretty sure E3 we're gonna see a lot of different games with that style. And you got a lot of indie devs that make those. Now, I wanted to talk about indie devs just really quick. The Witcher series is an indie game. All indie games is the developer is also the publisher. CD Projekt Red is the developer and publisher. A game like, for instance, Battlefield is DICE is the developer. EA is the publisher. DICE is employed by EA. EA themselves, you can say they're under the umbrella of DICE, but DICE, the development team, makes they make the Battlefield games. EA publishes them. You can say the same thing for a game like Mass Effect, where it's BioWare and it's EA. It's the same situation. But most of your indie games are more so going with not high budget, so they're going with kind of like a certain art style with their games. So like I said, a game like Shovel Knight is, I can't remember exactly who made it, but most of the indie games are in that style. You got different ones, like I said. You got top-down games, in the same vein of like a Diablo. You got race, and they're not even bring up sports games. You got games like UFC, which is like the sports games, also can be counted as also a fighting game. Of course, your Madden, your NBA 2K, your FIFA. You got MLB The Show, which EA and 2K have completely given up on baseball, so MLB The Show is like the only baseball game there. You got your racing sims. Either it's more arcadey, like Forza Horizon, or it's like the regular Forza series. You got games like, and kind of like games that's trying to do something a little different. I can't even think of the name of the game right now. It's the racing when you're driving like the little remote control cars and hitting a soccer ball. I don't know why I can't think of the name of the game, but that game. Tower defense games, of course, the fighting games, which I think should be done a little bit more often, because right now you only have 2 fighting games coming out, that big ones, and that's Injustice 2, which comes out in about 3 weeks, and of course Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which they showed some gameplay for that. Those 2 games look great. So I feel as though fighting games should be done a little bit more. I think EA should do a fight night. They should do another fight night game. Don't know why they kept giving up on it. It's probably something I have to look up, but another good game. Trying to think if you also have, I just had the games in my head. I think that's about it. Like I said, I could be leaving off some games, but you have a bunch of different genres, like horror survival games. Resident Evil 7, Alien Isolation, the newest game Outlast 2 just came out. Like I said, there are a variety of games for the different type of people that game. Like I said, sandbox games, GTA games more so in that vein. Those are really popular. those are the games that are going to get released more often. Those games obviously take longer to make than, say, a Telltale's game, obviously. But those are a lot of games that you do see. But if you look hard enough, if you are interested in different types of games, they're there. Like I said, all these genres I named, they're there. It's just a lot of people who, some of these genres I named, a lot of people don't play those games. A lot of people don't really care about those games. But it still doesn't change the fact that there is variety. My issue with gaming now isn't variety. It's not only, for me, it's the a lot of the fan bases who attach themselves to these companies instead of saying, okay, I like that game, I'm going to play it. If you own multiple consoles, I like that game, I'm going to play it. Instead of being like that, people attach themselves to these huge, these big corporations and almost follow them like slaves. That's one thing I have an issue with. Also, with these games, EA, Ubisoft on people's personal shit list because of releasing broken games, shitty DLC practices, games that don't have a bunch of content, or whatever else bullshit they'll do. And you would expect this from a smaller company, but companies that's releasing a big game like Battlefield 4, I'm gonna bring up Battlefield 4, was broken. When that game came out, it was broken, and it's one of the cases that's a big reason why I don't really pre-order like that. That game, and not only just that game, it's been a bunch of different games, but that one's the one that comes to mind because it was clearly released before it was finished, and they pushed it out to compete with the competitor and to gouge the fans. Battlefront is a different situation. Game worked, but it didn't have content. And it was like content was pulled from the game to be used for the next game. To gouge the Star Wars fans, knowing that we haven't gotten Star Wars fans haven't gotten a Battlefront game in years. Now, I didn't buy it. I'm a Star Wars fan, but I saw the shit coming. After playing the beta, I saw it coming, so I didn't get the game. But a lot of people did. It sold well. That's what I have an issue with, is companies trying to get over on people that buy the games. Not giving them enough content, not putting out a game that works. The most important thing about a video game, before content, before any other shit, it being able to fucking work. But like I said, I think there's variety in games, in gaming today. Issues for me is a completely different thing. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Thanks for watching.